For the solo section, I'm going to suggest to use your thumb to pluck all the notes. Thumb gives you a warmer tone or sound compared to using a pick. And with the fretting hand, what you want to do before you start is you want to align your fingers, kind of align and assign your fingers to certain frets, because if you do so, your hand will remain steady in position throughout the whole piece. And here's what I mean. Every note along the 7th fret is going to be fretted with the first finger. And then as we move up one fret at a time, we move up a finger. So 2nd finger, 8th fret, 3rd finger along the 9th fret, and the pinky along the 10th. And if you're a beginner, or even if you've been playing a while, if you do one of these runs right now, kind of gets you a little warmed up to keeping your hand steady and in position. The song begins with a 4-note phrase starting on that 3rd string, 7th fret. And if you watch the fingers, I'll call off the frets as well. 7, 9, 7, and then you dip down with the 3rd finger to the 9th fret on the 4th string. So 7, 9, 7, then down to 9 on the 4th string. This 4-note phrase is repeated, so let's just play it a couple times, get acclimated to it. Here we go. For the next section, which is the D7 section, again, we're calling it based on the chord that's played in the background, but here we go. We're going to start with our pinky finger on that 2nd string, 10th fret. And we're going to let these notes sustain a little bit, starting with the 10, 10. And then the 1st finger, same string, just dip down to the 7th fret. And the key is keeping your hand, again, steady in position. Use the correct finger numbers, because the next 3 notes, we're going to move our middle finger up, playing that 8th fret twice, and then the 1st finger down on the 3rd string. Let's back it up to the 8th fret there. We're going to play that 8, 8, 7 if you're looking at the tab. Now let's back it up a little bit. We'll start from the beginning of the D7 section, starting with the double 10s. Now we'll do a slow walkthrough of line 1. We're going to play it from the beginning. Remember to use the right fingers to fret with. It'll keep your hand steady in position. So here we go from the top. 1, 2, ready, go. We'll do that one more time. Now we start the beginning of line 2. The background chord is going to be a C chord. So regarding the solo, we're going to be on the 3rd string, 9th fret. And we're going to have our 3rd finger on that fret. Remember to keep the right fingers aligned along the right frets. So 1st finger along the 7th, 2nd finger along the 8th, 3rd finger along the 9th. And so those first 2 notes on the 9th fret, 3rd string. And then your middle finger is already aligned over the next note. It's going to be the 2nd string, 8th fret. And then after that, same string, just go down to 7 with the 1st finger. And then you're going to go back, return back to the 1st note, that 9th fret. It's a 5-note phrase, so let's put that together. In fact, we're going to play it twice. We'll do a slow walk through. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. do it again. And then the good news is the next 4 notes repeat what we already learned. The 4 notes are the same as the first 4 notes that we started the melody with, the song with. So you're going to repeat this phrase. So what we're going to do is we're going to put together now this 9-note phrase. And then the good news is this 9-note phrase repeats to complete line 2. So we're going to play the 9-note phrase, all of line 2, and we're going to do a slow walkthrough. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. And then we shift that 3rd finger over to repeat the phrase. Now we're going to combine lines 1 and 2. We're going to do a slow walkthrough, and I'll throw out a few pointers while we're playing it. So here we go from the top. 1, 2, ready, go. Then repeat. Now you keep the hand steady. You extend that pinky on that 2nd string. Then on the same string, your 3rd finger goes down to start line 2. So we're going to go up 2 frets to 9. Here we go. Then repeat the beginning. Then the 3rd finger just shifts over to the next string and we repeat those 9 notes. For line 3, we're going to start with our 4th pinky finger on the 2nd string, 10th fret. We're going to play that note twice. Again, make sure you use the right fingers or have the fingers aligned, because for the next note, we go to our middle finger on the top string, 8th fret. So I'm going to back it up. I'm going to play those first 2 notes again. And then we go back to the 10th fret, 10, 7. So we're going to put it together from the beginning of line 3. And then middle finger just goes up 1 fret on the 8th fret now, 2nd string. And if you look at the tab, we're syncing up with that G chord. We're going to let this note sustain. And then the 1st finger, top string, 7th fret, that's also going to sustain for a full bar. So just letting those 2 notes ring or sustain. So let's put it together now from the beginning of the line. Here we go. And one more time. Now the last 3 sections are the ending to the melody. After we play those 2 ringing notes, again keeping the hand steady and in position, now we go down to the 2nd string, 8th fret, and here's the phrase. And what we're doing, a good way to how I memorize it is, I'm thinking that the thumb is just going down 1 string at a time. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Now regarding the frets, it's going to be 8, 7, 9. And again, having the fingers aligned correctly, the hand won't move at all. So starting with that 2nd string, 8th fret, 8, then down to 7, and then down to 9. And then you'll go back to the 3rd string 7th fret. It's a 4-note phrase. 8, 7, 9, 7. And then the pinky's going to extend down to the 4th string, 10th fret. 10, 7, 10. That's going to be a little bit tough, a little bit of a stretch, but again, you're looking like a pro as you play. You're keeping your hand steady in position. 10, 7, 10. Especially if you're a beginner, you got to press extra hard and make sure your fingers are aligned along the frets. If you're a little short of the frets, you're going to get buzz. 10, 7, 10. So now what we're going to do is put together all of line 3, and we're going to do a slow walkthrough. So here we go from the top. 1, 2, ready, go. And then keep the hand steady right there, middle finger. 8, 7, 9, 7. Then extend the pinky. 10, 7, 10 to end it. And we'll do that again. See, I let go a little soon. There's a little buzz there. So let's play it again from the top. 1, 2, ready, go. Once you have each section memorized, the final step with this lesson regarding the melody is to go back to the beginning of the video and see if you can keep up with the lesson preview. Now before doing that, I have a couple pointers regarding the timing, because it's one thing to play the melody, but if you're going to play with someone else with some background chords, you need to time it right to really have it sound good. And here's what I mean by timing. The background chords, well, this is going to be a G chord. They're going to be applying basic fingerstyle technique. What you got to follow are the bass notes. That's a bass note, so bass, bass. You're going to start on the 5th measure. We've got 4 measures of G just by itself. And when you start on that 5th measure, you want that first note, that very first note on the 3rd string 7th fret, you want that note to sync up or land on the bass note of that 5th measure of G. Doesn't have to be 100% on it, but if you focus on that, it sounds more cohesive, it sounds more together. And with that in mind, when you go 7, 9, 7, 9, that 4th note, that note is also going to land on the 2nd bass note that's played with the G chord. With that in mind, when we go to the next section, the D7 section, that begins with the 2nd string, 10th fret, that first note will sync up with the D7th bass note, which is going to sound like that. If you apply this to the rest of the song, once you get line 1 down, if you work on syncing up the melody with the chord changes on line 1, once you do that, you'll have a good idea on how to sync it up for the rest of the song. And you can look at the tab as a reference. Pretty much the first note syncs up with each chord change. So you can go back now to the beginning of the video and practice along, see how it's applied. And once you have that down, you can also go to the end of this video where there's a track with the fingerstyle guitar without the melody being played. So you can actually play without interference from the other guitar. You could play on your own with the backing guitar at the end of the video. For those of you who are going to be playing this as a duet, for the second guitarist playing the chords, I would suggest the more experienced guitarists play this part, because the transitions are a little bit tricky if you haven't been playing a while, and it's very important to have good timing on this. So what you're going to do is apply basic fingerstyle technique for each chord, and for each measure, here's the fingerstyle pattern. We're going to start with the opening G. So you're going to count it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's 1 measure. That's 2 measures. And keeping that in mind, when we go to the next chord, which is the D7th, at one point you can actually not play any 7th chords. You could simply play G, C, and D. You can ignore the 7ths and you could pull it off, but it does sound better if you include the 7th chord shape. So here's the D7. In applying that fingerstyle pattern, we simply shift the thumb to the 4th string. And if you look at the tab, that's 2 measures of D7. Then we go back to G. Now you could stay on G, or for this one measure you can go to G7. And again, it does sound better if you actually throw in the 7th chords. With that, line 2, we're going to go to a C chord. The bass note will be the 5th string. And then 2 Gs. So for memory's sake, it's not so bad. 2 Cs, 2 Gs, then repeat it. That's all of line 2. Double D7. And then 3 Gs. 1. Then 1 D7. And then 1 G. You could strum the G, but I do 1 G in the lesson preview and then we strum it. But you could actually immediately strum that last measure. In the next clip, we have the complete arrangement played with just the fingerstyle guitar parts. So if you want, you can practice the complete arrangement that way, fingerstyle. Also, if you want, you can work on playing the melody along with that backing fingerstyle track as well. Whether it's the single note melody or the fingerstyle section, the final challenge with this lesson is to go back to the beginning of the video and see if you can keep up with the lesson preview. Once you can do that, you have the song down. Be sure to subscribe and we'll send you updates on other holiday songs.